All right, let's talk about the British pound. Today, we're diving into its absolutely wild 1,200-year history. This is a currency that has seen it all. Empires rise and fall, world wars, and even a secret plot to wipe it out completely. So let's start with a bit of a riddle. What on earth could possibly connect 15 cows, a top-secret Nazi plot, and one of the founding fathers of computer science? It sounds completely random, I know, but the answer is probably in your wallet. Believe it or not, the one thing that ties them all together is the British pound. And its story, stretching back 1,200 years, is so much more than just about money. It's really a story about history itself. Okay, so to really understand how the pound has lasted this long, we've got to go back, way back, to the very beginning. We're talking the 8th century. That's when the pound first appeared, making it the oldest currency in the entire world that's still being used today. Just think about that for a second. That's incredible. And you know, its original setup was basically a hand-me-down from the Roman Empire. You know that pound symbol? The L part comes from the Roman word libra. The S for shilling, that's from solidus. And the D for penny, you got it, denarius. Now, this old system was kinda wild. You had 20 shillings to a pound and 12 pence to a shilling, which meant there were 240 pence in a single pound. It sounds like a total headache now, but get this. That system lasted for over 1,000 years. And just to give you an idea of its value, back around the year 980, a single pound could buy you 15 cows. 15! The name itself tells you why. Pound comes from the Latin libra pondo, which literally means a pound by weight, because originally a pound was worth exactly that, a pound of pure silver. So it started as just a weight of silver, but it was on its way to becoming the currency that would finance a globe-spanning empire. The currency itself kept evolving. You had the first £1 coin minted in 1489. Then the Bank of England started issuing handwritten banknotes in 1694. But the real game changer came in 1816, when Britain adopted the gold standard. Tying the pound's value directly to gold gave it this rock-solid stability that the whole world came to trust. And that trust led to total dominance. Before World War I, a staggering 80% of all international deals were done in pounds. It was, without a doubt, the world's currency. But, as you know, being on top like that, well, it puts a target on your back. And that brings us to the pound's darkest hour. We're talking about World War II, when the biggest threat to its existence wasn't from bombs or tanks, but from a printing press. The plot was called Operation Bernhard. And the Nazi plan was as brilliant as it was terrifying. Forge so many perfect fake British pounds that they could just drop them out of planes over Britain, trigger hyperinflation, and completely collapse the economy from the inside. And the level of detail was just insane. They figured out the exact formula for the special linen rag paper Britain used. They cracked the secret numbering system. And then, horrifically, they forced a team of expert Jewish forgers in a concentration camp to create flawless replicas of the printing plates. They weren't just making fakes, they were aiming for perfection. The scale of this operation was enormous. At the very least, they managed to print over 132 million pounds worth of these high-quality fakes, and they used that money to fund spy networks and buy weapons on the black market. And here's the truly crazy part. The fakes were so good, so unbelievably perfect, that after the war was over, even the top experts at the Bank of England had trouble telling them apart from the real thing. The threat was incredibly real. So, after surviving the war, the pound had to get ready for the modern era. And to do that, it needed to finally let go of its ancient, and let's be honest, very confusing past. And it all happened on one day, February 15th, 1971, a day known as Decimal Day. On that day, Britain switched its currency over to a decimal system, ending that 1,200-year-old tradition of pounds, shillings, and pence. It was a massive, massive shift for the entire country. The change was huge. Overnight, the country went from that complex 240 pence to a pound system to a simple 100 new pence to a pound. No more shillings, no more doing weird mental math when you went shopping. Everything got simpler. And interestingly, this wasn't really about getting closer to Europe. The main reasons were about global trade and modernization.
A lot of the Commonwealth countries had already made the switch, and if Britain wanted to stay a major trading power, it needed a currency that was easier to work with. Which brings us right up to today. What does the world's oldest currency actually look like now, here in the 21st century?
Well, for starters, the old paper notes are gone. Today's pound is printed on a flexible plastic called polymer. That means the notes are cleaner, they last a lot longer, and in a direct lesson from Operation Bernhard, they are much, much harder to counterfeit. The security tech is on a whole other level now. We're talking see-through windows, holograms that change color, raised print you can actually feel, and even hidden numbers that only show up under UV light. It's a world away from the simple paper and ink the Nazi forgers had to copy.
The highest denomination note is the 50-pound note, and this is where the whole story comes together beautifully. The face on that note is Alan Turing, the brilliant mathematician and computer genius whose work breaking Nazi codes like Enigma was essential to winning the very war that threatened to destroy the pound.
So when you stop and think about it, the pound has survived for 12 centuries. It's gone from being a weight of silver to a promise backed by gold. It's weathered world wars and a massive counterfeit plot. But today, it faces a totally new challenge. In an age of digital payments and crypto, what does the future possibly hold for the world's oldest physical currency?